The Joburg City Power, I should say, has been given a go-ahead by the National Energy Regulator of South Africa to implement a residential time-of-use tariff system. Electricity usage will be priced at different rates during the day. The off-peak hours rate will be cheaper than the peak hour rate to encourage consumption during off-peak hours. The goal of the whole exercise is to lessen the pressure on the national grid. Well, joining us now is Sicelo Xulu, who is the Managing Director of City Power. Good to have you.
Yeah, good morning,
Thanks so
Len,
much
and
for
the viewers
coming
at
in.
home. Thanks for the opportunity again.
Okay, just give us a little bit of understanding as to what this time-of-use tariff system actually is.
What it means, Lian, it simply means that customers from the 1st of July onwards, between 7 and 10 in the morning, and also between 5 and 9 in the evening, will pay more when it comes to electricity. And then off those periods, they will actually pay less. That's what it means. And this is done to really encourage customers to be able to change behavior so that we can be able to try and contribute towards averting the load shedding.
Yeah, I suppose it is difficult as a normal person to change behavior because a lot of people aren't home during the rest of the day. They are home during those hours, and that is the peak time. That is when we're getting supper ready, when we're getting our children ready to go to school, we're getting ready to go to work. You know, that's the reality. So those are the times that we're using it. So what are you hoping that we can try and adjust in our lifestyles?
I think there's been a lot of discussions around, for instance, shifting your cooking from normal electricity to gas, for instance, and that's what we're trying to encourage. There's also been a lot of talks around customers exploring putting solar PVs, photovoltaics, on their roofs where they can harness energy from the sun. So that's what basically we're trying to encourage. And what we're saying is that customers, and including residential customers, needs to start changing the relationship they have, I think, between electricity at their homes in terms of just consuming it, but also looking at some of the alternatives. And this is a preparation, I think, going to the future where if the regulation allows, let's say, for instance, as a customer, you've changed your behavior, you've introduced solar photovoltaic, for instance, you can then be able to feed that into the grid. Actually, you can start making money into the future by selling the electricity back into the grid. Obviously, we're busy with that process with the regulator. So that's basically what we're saying, and this is just the beginning.
Yeah. What are to give us an example, what are the tariff differences between the peak and off-peak times?
If you look at the peaks that I've just mentioned, you will pay probably double what you're paying currently. Yeah, it can go up to double what you're paying currently. Yeah. But again, I mean, if you look at off-peak, it will then be far cheaper. But what we've done, just to illustrate what the customer will probably feel as an impact, we've looked at the average customer that consumes about 1,500 kilowatt hours per month, and that's an average home. And currently, that customer will be paying around about 129 cents per kilowatt hour on average, for instance, throughout the day, throughout the year. If that customer then changes the behavior as a result of the time of use or the price signal, the customer will see, just by 10%, will see actually an impact that will see that 129 moving from 129 to about 118 cents per kilowatt hour. Yeah. So it's not only just punitive, but it also benefits or awards those customers that are willing to change their behavior, and obviously they will pay less in terms of electricity.
Do we need to change our meters?
Certainly. The meters that we have currently, they are old, mechanical type of meters. They obviously cannot handle the time of use computation. But what we've done, as you know, we started about 2.5 years ago with the rollout of smart meters, and the smart meters can then handle the computation when it comes to obviously the time of use tariff. So therefore you need to have a smart meter for you to be able to move to a time of use tariff.
Yeah. So okay. So by the 1st of July, everybody should have these new meters in Johannesburg in their houses, so that they can also benefit from this time of use.
That's obviously what we're trying to achieve. But what we've done currently, we've got about just over 50,000 meters that have been installed. And our program in terms of the rollout, by the end of June, we'll have rolled out additional 70,000 on the ground. So we're hoping that as we hit the 1st of July, at least we've got over 100,000 customers that will be able to benefit from this process.
What about this billing crisis? Let's be honest. I mean, there's a history of a massive billing crisis here in Joburg. Is this going to help?
I think when we started with the metering program, the idea was to deal with the issue of revenue management. And as you could remember, because at that time, yes, we had a lot of issues around billing. So now we're seeing a huge improvement in terms of the meter reading performance, which obviously leads to the accurate and actually correct bills. So we're actually dealing with the issue, and I think there's been really measurable progress that has been made. If you look at, for instance, the opinion by the Auditor General, we actually got an unqualified audit opinion. So that tells us that we're in the right direction. It's been now 2 years in a row, and we're now aiming for a clean audit because we're confident that we're actually resolving the issue of the billing, for instance. And obviously, if you look at the meter reading, we're actually sitting at over about 90% now in terms of performance, meaning that we're sending about 90% actual readings into the city for the city to be able to create bills. And I think that's really a good progress that has been made so far.
Let's sort of give some explanation to some of the viewers, and particularly our Joburg viewers. Which areas are going to start this off? Is this starting from the 1st of July throughout the entire area that you control, the city of Joburg?
This is the city of Johannesburg.
So that's
and
the city
power,
of Joburg.
The city power area of supply, obviously that's where we'll be starting. But over and above that, it means that we'll be looking at the first population of meters, about over 100,000 that will have been targeted, so that we can start moving over those customers. And then obviously after that, we'll then try and as we roll out, get customers to move into the time of use tariff as they get new meters. And that's the plan.
Will some people find that their bills will be higher?
Not really, but if you don't behave, of course, because it's a time of use, they will increase. Yeah. But if you behave, and you obviously be able to see the savings, from your pocket straight away.
Okay, so you've been warned. The 1st of July, Joburg City Power is implementing a peak hour tariff system now. So between 7 and 10 in the morning and 5 and 9 in the evening, you're going to be paid at a higher tariff, and off-peak you will obviously pay less for electricity. But those hours, you're going to be paying almost double for your electricity to try and help with the situation of the electricity crisis here in South Africa. So it's happening. It's not in discussion. It is happening from the 1st of July. Just quickly, any idea, is it a national thing that might be rolling out?
We're going to the meeting now, at War Room. Yeah. So we're putting all of these ideas, I think, on the table. So hopefully through the MAU, we should be able to influence the whole country to be able to do this. But we're actually taking a lead in this. Okay.
Thank you very much for joining us. Sicelo Xulu, who is the Managing Director of City Power, thank you very much for talking to us here on the